Tonight on the Mac to the Future livecast, go. So a little more politics on the show. Sorry about that. Russian maps and Russian apps are rushing me off to very silly puns. And sorry about that too. Apple MacBook Pros suddenly shutting down in solidarity with something or other, since there's absolutely no way that it could be a hardware or software issue. No way. All that tonight on the Mac to the Future livecast. Go. Something. I don't know. And hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the Mac to the Future livecast. Go! No Warren Sklar this evening. However, I am joined by Mr. Dave Ginsburg. Hello, Mr. Dave Ginsburg. How are you this fine Mr. Dave Ginsburg evening?
Hello, guys. Cyril, how are you doing? I'm doing great, and I'm loving my new mic.
That is the hotness, dude. It really is.
And I actually probably sound really good too. I think
you do. Well, we did some testing this weekend.
Yeah, we did.
And I've got to say it was that is a nice mic, and I did something that I probably shouldn't have, because I have a very, very nice mic myself. I bought one. I don't have it yet. I don't have it
yet.
We're
going to we'll have doing Rode pod mics pretty soon here.
Oh. And because, I mean, I do like my Heil PR40. I've had it for a couple of years, and I've struggled to make it sound good. And just as I get it sounding where it sounds really good, I'm going to look at another microphone. So, what are you going to do? You know, I really have to question my sanity at times when it comes to audio equipment, because I don't seem to have a filter, Dave. There's no filter.
Yeah. Really?
None at all. Okay. Go ahead.
I wanted to mention something real quick about MacStock. Over the weekend, they had Cyber Monday, and it was a phenomenal success as far as people buying their $100 off tickets. Unfortunately, you missed it, but I'm super stoked to hear that there was a lot of big increase over last year on taking advantage of Cyber Monday to come see us at MacStock.
Did he announce any? Did he announce any numbers?
No, I don't know of any numbers, but he did post did put a posting on Twitter and showed
cool.
all kinds of. He did a graphic with some people's names on it, and so it's great to see. I'm so happy to see that it's still everybody's still excited about it. And,
yeah, this is going to be the 6th year for MacStock.
I've got my glass right there. It's from 2017. So,
was he doing? Is that like a what kind of glass is that? A tumbler, I think it's called.
Beer glass, but
beer glass.
Beer in it, but.
Well, I don't really drink that much. So what are you going to do? Oh boy, we have lots of comments over on we have no comments from my page, but there's lots of them to hear in Mac the Future. I really, really wish I could somehow get those comments here onto but it's not going to be possible.
Well, Frank says you have to mow several more lawns to pay for that mic.
Oh, I can afford that mic, Frank. I can, because I saved money by not buying a Rode Procaster. What's that mixer called? Rodecaster.
Rodecaster
Pro. Yes. So see, with all the money that I saved by not buying a Rodecaster Pro, that I honestly didn't need anyway, with all the stuff that I've got here. Oh my God. I already have a mixer that I'm not using. So, but all of that aside, I could buy six pod mics. Yeah, I'm getting my terminology all mixed up here. But actually, to be honest, I want them all. I want a Rodecaster Pro. I want pod mics. I want my own studio and someone to rub my back while I do a podcast.
I want my own studio too, but I have to live with my room here. So,
yeah. This is about as good as it's going to get.
Even with my Christmas sweater back there.
Yeah. And Frank, I don't own a DeLorean. I don't have the DeLorean. Though there was one there. 2 years ago? A couple years ago. Yeah. So it was when they had the Saturday Night Shindig outside of the school, the college.
Right.
Because the guy actually drove it all the way around. And
he did.
Oh, what's his? Oh God, I'm so awful with names. I did a duet with from
Don
England.
McAllister?
Don McAllister. Yeah, it was.
It was memorable.
It is not something to be repeated. But I think
I'm still trying to wash out of my head here. But anyway,
gonna wash that song right out of my head. All right, we got a couple things to talk about here in quick takes.
Yes.
Non-event. There was a big deal made. I don't know if you heard about this, Dave.
There was?
Yeah, everybody was going, wow, there's an Apple event on December 2nd. And as it turned out, it was Apple having some developers over in a New York apartment that they keep to talk about an upcoming Best of Apple award. No, Best music award show they're doing.
That wasn't streamed either.
No, of course it wasn't streamed. Yeah, it's like guys, they're just getting some people over to talk about it. It's as if Tim Cook is like, let's have our Wednesday meeting and let's make sure everybody knows it's the Wednesday meeting on Twitter. So, it's an Apple event. No, it's just a meeting. Okay. Blues Research, which I've never heard of before, says Apple is getting too expensive, Dave.
Oh my Lord. It's just beyond expensive. I just don't know what we can do.
You know what? Let's just shut all this down. We're going to be Android to the future, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, I'm just selling all my Macs. I'm done.
Yeah, we're done. We're done with that. Blues Research, you're full of crap. All right, next, Apple Activation Lock. Companies that depend on reselling or providing repairs and upgrades say it's all bad. Yeah.
No.
It's honestly, it's a security feature, and there was a report I read, and from San Francisco, that since Apple started this activation lock in California, thefts of iPhones have gone down. I think it's between 50 to 75%, because thieves are finding out that you might be able to get the phone, but other than its value in parts, it's worthless. So they stopped trying to rip people off for them. And I'm sorry, iFixit, that you can't sell more stuff to people to make improvements. Because believe me, I would love to go into, and I'm not kidding, I would love to be able to go into my iPad and add more storage. I would love to be able to go into my iMac and add take out the Fusion drive and put it in an SSD, but I can't. It's
not easy.
Yeah. Frankly, I wouldn't bother at this point.
Maybe Stephen Hackett will do it for you.
Who?
Stephen Hackett. He did it at MacStock.
Well, that's all of our quick takes. Main stories, and unfortunately, Warren is probably delighted that he's not here, because we're getting back into a little bit of politics, but that seems to be like the big stories that's going on right now. Apple to basically to obey Russian law changed their maps for just Russian users to show that the Crimea is part of Russia now, and the Crimea is part of Ukrainian territory, and it is Ukrainian territory that Ukrainian what's a good word? Freedom fighters supplied by Russia and coming from Russian territory kind of took it over, and it's been a bone of contention ever since. There's been lots of sanctions put on Russia for their behavior in this regard. But frankly, they did it mostly just to appease Russian authorities. There wasn't, because it's part of what it is that they have to do when you sell stuff or do business in other countries. But again, every other country with a personal stake in the issue or is committed to sanctions is not happy with Apple over it. But I guess, Dave, the big question is, just as with China, what can Apple do about it, and what are their options?
What can they do about it? I mean, it's a government restriction. That they want to continue to sell iPhones in China, they're going to have to give in to what China wants, I guess. I mean, again, I'm kind of like Warren with the politics. I don't follow it as closely as you do, but I just don't see how Apple can to adjust to what Russia wants to do as well as China. I mean, what can you do, really?
Well, and the next story, kind of, it's in a similar vein, and it's unfortunate because this the whole thing with Apple changing their Maps program to appease Russian law may be moot based on this next story. Russia's lower house passed a law that starting July 1st, Russian-made software by law must be installed on nearly every electronic product that connects to the internet in Russia. Most have said this is a pretext to install spyware to keep tabs on Russian citizens, similar to laws that force message apps to keep user data and encryption keys in that country. China does something similar, but takes it a step further by forcing journalists going into areas of unrest to install software in their phones that some claim is there to keep track of outsiders and have access to content like pictures and notes on their phones. This is, and basically Apple came back from this and said, this is the equivalent of us being forced by Russia to jailbreak our own devices. And I'm beginning to wonder, because it's not, Russia isn't China as far as the market goes. This may be the straw that broke the camel's back as far as Apple selling devices and services in Russia. I cannot see how they can give in to this and still follow their core philosophy that privacy is a human right.
Yeah, this could be a change to be selling their products in Russia. It's very much so. I would certainly hope Apple does not give in to this, because this is just not good. To be forced to put apps on that they don't want on their devices, and to be permanently installed apps. I mean, we already have enough as it is, and the thing is, they do, even the apps that are preloaded. We have the right to remove them too. I bet you that's what Russia's going to force them to do. Is no, not only do you have to install the app, you have to make sure
you can't remove it either.
So
and it's not just Apple, phones and iPads and Macs. We're talking television set, basically anything that connects to the internet that you can buy in Russia is supposed to have Russian software on it. And when this story first broke, the lower house of their parliament was basically saying that no, this was just a way to promote Russian application developers. But I don't think anyone is really fooled by that kind of crap. It's to call it like what it is. Now, and again, to be fair, the U.S. tried to do something very, very similar a couple of years ago with the incident that happened in California, where they wanted Apple to put in a backdoor into iOS so that, if they confiscated somebody's phone, that they could just go into it and get what they want. And they promised, Dave, that only they would have the keys to do this, because there is no way in hell that hackers have ever discovered anything that the FBI, the CIA, or the NSA is doing without their full knowledge beforehand. Ever.
Yeah, right. Well, Frank asks in the chat room, is Russia a big market for Apple at all? I mean, I can't imagine it's that big. I mean, it's a big country.
I can't. Well, it is. Well, it's the biggest country in the world, but not in
population-wise. No,
it's not that big. I don't think they have as many people as the United States does. So, if only there was some tool that we had where we could find out what the population between the U.S. and Russia was. Let's see.
Well, Russia's got
184 million fewer people live in Russia. So you could fit the population of the United States plus another half in Russia from what they currently have. So yeah, I cannot see that Russia is really all that big of a market for them. Okay, the last story that we have for the night. Russia has the economy of New York. Nice one, Tim. Oh, by the way, tell Cole that I said happy birthday. I remember him when he was just a wee lad, just a
happy
small
birthday
boy.
to Cole.
Let's see. So the last story, and this is relatively breaking, I guess. 2019 MacBook Pro 13-inch having problems staying awake. Story from Mac Rumors. Apple has a support document covering issues some people are having with 2019 13-inch MacBook Pros where they suddenly shut down. Apple, being proactive, is admitting that this is not an optimal experience and has suggested that users allow the battery to drop below 90%, connect to a charger, quit all open applications, and then letting it sleep and charge for at least 8 hours. There was no talk of doing the hokey pokey and turning yourself around, which will probably be in the next support document. Oh my God. I have, and the weird thing is now the latest 13-inch MacBook Pro, I think, came out 3 to 5 months before the new 16-inch MacBook Pros.
Right. Just like mine. I have the 15-inch 2019 MacBook Pro.
Okay. Have you been having any problems with it along those lines?
No.
Okay. So I guess this is limited to just the 13-inch?
Seems like it says entry level. But don't get me started about the 16-inch. Still burned that I had to keep this machine.
It's funny you mentioned that. I bought the first generation iPad Pro, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and really,
I did too.
Prior to getting the iPad Pro, I was still on an iPad third generation because there was just no real compelling reason to update because I wanted a bigger screen. That's what I was kind of waiting for. So they came out with the bigger screen, and the 128 gigabyte storage was the biggest that they had, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna jump all over that, and I did. And then 6 months later, they came out with a 256 gigabyte model for the same price, and I wasn't bitter, not at all.
No,
not at all was I bitter. Bitter face.
Very, very bitter.
Very bitter. I'm still bitter. I haven't yet jumped to one of the newer iPad Pros because the only real compelling reason so far is more storage. And, I can only get, at this point, this iPad Pro, first gen iPad Pro, is probably worth $300 at most, $400.
The first gen?
Yeah, if that.
No, it's not worth that.
Okay, well, under $300. I know Apple is only willing to give as a trade-in about $300.
First gen iPad?
First gen iPad Pro.
iPad Pro.
12.9-inch iPad Pro. So I would, in order to get a Wi-Fi cellular model, which is what this one is as well, with 256 or 512, I mean, we're looking at $1,100-1,200.
Right.
And just for the extra storage, it's not worth it.
I don't think so.
I can't justify it yet.
No.
So
Not
just
a
gonna hang on
cloud.
to it.
No, I mean I've got one from when I bought it, borrowing it from my sister-in-law, and it's still good. It's still a damn good iPad.
Yeah, and it does everything I want it to do. It's got a Lightning connector, so I can connect up microphones. I can connect up audio interfaces. I can connect up cameras. I can connect up all kinds of stuff to this thing. And with the latest version of the iPad OS, they just keep adding more and more functionality to it. So, this kind of falls back into one of the quick stories that we were talking about, with various people saying that the activation lock is making it so perfectly good iPads and all the rest of that can't be resold. Why would people be wanting to sell an iPad that they've only had for a year? And what I don't really get, and I know a lot of people do it, is this push to have a new iPhone every single year. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Well, explain it to me.
Well,
I mean, what's the big difference between the iPhone you had? Did you have the 10X or 10X Max?
The 10S Max.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
what's been the real difference between that and the iPhone 11 Pro?
I just heard you and Gaz talk about it on the last show on Sunday. He does it every year too.
Well, yeah, but he's moving phones down to the rest of his family, though I can't imagine that's going to keep going with his daughters getting older now.
Actually, I did move it down to my family this time around because my sister-in-law was in the market for a new phone, so we paid off the 10S Max and she got it.
Right.
So she got a good deal. I do it because, well, more so it's my world, since I do talk about iOS and want to have the greatest iPhone. I'm obviously the much more extreme exception to the rule. Apple makes it very easy Apple makes it very easy makes it very easy to do it because it's just a trade-in plan each time I do it in the next year. So it's not like it's costing me that much, other than it's basically I'm renting the phone. But for iPhone, I like doing it.
Well, does your cost, because you're on the plan where you just get a new phone each year based on and you're paying for this service. So when you get the new phone, does your cost go up or does it remain the same?
No, it remains the same. So what I do is,
how long is that guaranteed for?
Each year, whatever the cost of the phone is, it's based on the cost of the phone. So the 10s Max and the 11 Pro Max, the price stayed the same. So I just paid the monthly.
So there was no extra money.
I have to keep the phone for a year. So after a year, I have two choices. I can, time to trade in because the new phone's out, or I can keep it for another year, like we did with my wife's phone before she got a new one. She kept it for the 2 full years. Then we got the full benefit of trading in her. She had the 8 Plus, and now she has the 11 Pro, and she got the benefit of getting a full trade-in value of a phone we owned. So.
Okay. Well, Frank is saying that even a new phone every 2 years doesn't make much sense anymore. I'm kind of in that camp as well, Frank. I'm still on an 8 Plus, and the only reason why I went to the 8 Plus was that the 6 Plus that I had basically died after 3 years. So it was either get it repaired for much less than I paid the 8 Plus, but at that point when you got a 3-year-old phone, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to put too much into it because the cost ratio of having a new phone versus repairing the old phone isn't really that great. So I just went ahead and got a new phone, and maybe there'll be a more compelling reason for me to get a phone next year if there's some gee whiz golly feature, and the whole reason why I went to the 6 because I had I think I was on a 4S. And the only reason why I got the 6 was that was the first of the big phones. and that's or the 6 Plus, and that's what I was looking for, a bigger phone.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm the extreme to the rule, and I kind of agree with Frank. Frank says I'm a reviewer. Well, yeah, I am a reviewer. I do, with my Apple user group and my podcast. I want to be on the cutting edge of seeing what they're doing. iPhone to me is a very important device in my life. I mean, I'm joined at the hip with this thing. I mean, I just it's bad. It's bad. I readily admit it. It's bad. I will not go anywhere without this thing. So I mean, that's really just how I am, and everybody's different. My wife decided not to do it for a while. So my wife decided not to go for a while. She kept it. Honestly, the XS Max is still a perfectly good phone. I'm happy.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law is happy. She loves it because she had the 6. I think she had the 6S Plus before, so it was quite a big jump to go from that to the XS Max, and she's super happy with it. I gave her the black, of course, me with having the black battery case, and she immediately switched it to a sparkly case with the pop socket. I don't understand these pop sockets. Everybody loves these pop sockets.
You got the green one, right?
Yes, that's the green one.
Yeah. See, that to me, if I was going to get an 11 Pro, I would have gotten it that green color, because that is I love that color in a phone. It's just so different from anything else that Apple has done before, and it's like a muted green. It's not like an in your face.
Yeah. Green.
I'm green. No, it's just a nice looking green, and I liked it from the moment I saw it.
Yeah,
but I'm still not going to
right away went. I right away went with it because I wanted to. I'm always buying space gray, and that's all I ever would buy. So
yeah,
here it's even easier to see the pretty green without having the case on it. So it's a nice color. I mean, I really like it. And I'm happy with this case. Actually, the battery life on this i11 Pro is just incredible. I mean, I was going to get a battery case because they finally came out with one, but I'm not going to do it. $129. No. What do I need it for? When this battery? I mean, I use this thing all day. I still have 78% left on my phone. I use this thing all day.
I haven't heard much from Mophie the last couple of years, and I wonder if it's mostly. Well, I mean, just. I can't imagine that there's a ton of people. I mean, there's still a lot of people that buy battery cases, but I can't imagine there's a ton of people that actually need to buy battery cases. Oh,
if you want your phone to last 3 days, that's where we're at now with these cases. It'll make you'll get almost 3 full days worth of battery life if you have a battery case.
Well, I kind of like just because at the end of the day I just plug it in, so. I'm good.
Right, that's what I do every night. I'm on my bedstand. I have one of those iHome wireless charging clock radios where it has a stand. I pop the phone in there. It's charging it wirelessly. So that's how I do it.
My clock radio died, and it was
new one.
I know, but I was kind of like, should I get another clock radio, or should I just get a stand for my phone and then use my phone as an alarm clock? So that's what I've been doing. Well, and I just put my it has a little thing for a watch charger as well.
There you go.
So I just plug them both in before I go to bed at night. Boy, we've gotten really way off topic here.
It's all right. We got nothing but time.
This
is fun talking. I wanted you to get away from politics, so it's like took your mind off of it here.
Shiny things.
The clock radio I have, it's an iHome, but you could turn the clock off completely and it doesn't even have any time showing at all. So it's just a stand with the wireless charging. So
yeah, that's something my wife used to get so angry with me because clock radios have those big, huge LCD displays, and most of them have some way to adjust it. But the weird thing is it's either off or too bright. There's no, we can just mute it down just a little bit more, but you take it that one little step farther and it's off. So, and that's the nature of LCDs to begin with.
Yep.
Okay. What else you got? Anything else going on?
No, I think we did good here.
I like your microphone.
I love it. I love this thing. I want it so bad.
I want my Mapo. Only people my age will understand that reference.
I'll have my AKG, the
240s, K240s, yeah.
Coming for Christmas time here, so.
I think you'll be very happy with those. Those are the ones I use for when I edit the MyMac podcast.
Yep. So
yeah, everything isn't always with AirPods. And
you had a great show last week. I listened, and thank you for the providing the ad for In Touch with iOS. I really appreciate that. And you had some good timing with the Rodney jokes. I was very impressed.
Oh man, I've always been a huge fan of Rodney Dangerfield.
Me too. I watched all the Johnny Carson stuff on YouTube. I laughed my butt off.
The only one that also, and is for a completely different reason, is Stephen Wright, if you know who that is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm not going to talk
total,
about that. Yeah. Yeah.
My building allows pets. I have a pony.
Pets. I have a pony. Yeah, he is funny.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this evening. Yeah. Dave, if people wanted to get a hold of you, how the hell would they do it?
They would do this. They would go to In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. Have a great show with this guy named Warren Sklar. Oh yeah, Warren Sklar. Yeah.
Warren.
He's a great co-host. We're going to be recording another show tomorrow, and lots more surprises upcoming with some new guests that I've got lined up as well. So we're having a blast with it, and hope you listen because it's a lot of fun. We talk a lot, everything you want to know about iOS, and I try to make things with the tips and tricks and all kind of fun stuff. And then you also could find me at if you're in the Chicago area, we have I'm president of the Apple user group locally here, Suburban Chicago Apple users, and have a blast with all my friends there too. And I've missed the last two meetings, for various reasons, for being out of town and whatnot. So we got a meeting coming up.
Well, let's see, user group meeting or Vegas? User group meeting
that's right.
Vegas.
Yep. So
tough choice.
No, and I do an iPhone special interest group. That's actually coming up a week from yesterday. So I keep busy with this stuff, and I love talking to all you guys out there with In Touch with iOS and iOS.
And if you'd like to get a hold of me, you can contact me via email, guy@mymac.com. I am on the Twitters, MacParrot or VertShark. I do the MyMac.com podcast with Gazmaz pretty much every single week. We're coming up on our 500th podcast together and it's 500th podcast, but it's show 785. That should tell you a lot about the MyMac.com podcast. But we have a great time with it, and we hope that you'll subscribe and join us. Of course, I also do the Mac to the Future livecast here with Dave and Warren, and I have neglected it mightily, but Guy's Daily Drive, I will be getting back to that soon. It has been a while. It has been a long while since I've put some of those out.
Things happen.
Yeah, but if you'd like to help offset some of the costs of doing all this stuff, you can buy me a coffee at coffee.com, ko-fi.com /MacParrot. You can do that Patreon thing, https patreon.com /MacParrot. And you can also go to PayPal, paypal.me God, what is it? MacParrot. That's what it is.
Oh,
I think that is going to about do it for this evening. We really appreciate the fact that so many of you have come and commented. We love the comments, and someday we will figure out a way to get everyone's comments from various areas all up on screen, because that's what we want. I'm going to be experimenting. Actually, I was talking to Dave about this before we started. There's something that's kind of similar to Mimo. Now, Mimo Live so far has been the absolute easiest program and most capable program to do live casts that I have tried. And I have tried a lot of different programs. And Mimo so far is the absolute winner, but there's one I'm going to be trying out on a kind of an informal basis. I'll probably just do some pop-up little stuff here on Facebook or YouTube to give it a try, because it's free, don't cost nothing. And who knows? Maybe we'll switch to that if it's if it's good enough to do all the stuff that I want it to. But I think that is going to do it for this evening. So thank you, Dave, for being on tonight. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everyone out there in Facebook land and YouTube land and all the various ways that you can watch this program. We appreciate the fact that you have taken the time to spend it with us, and we will see you next week. Bye.